So this weekend, I was at a birthday party outside, and I heard a family member say to somebody else, they said, "How I just don't understand why teachers can't go back to in person work like everyone else. I mean, why are they any different?" And I've been seeing this all over social media, and I've heard it on the news and in many different places, but finally I heard this same sentiment in person. And so I was tempted to bite my tongue, but instead I kind of just interjected into that conversation. I said, maybe it's because everybody else doesn't have people who are constantly licking everything that they're around, right? Like, teachers are kind of a little different than everybody else in what their job description looks like. I mean, how many other jobs, professions, vocations do clients, do customers, do the people that the employees are serving lick seats around them and pick their nose and store it in tissues and put it in their pocket all day, or have big breakdowns and need an adult to put them in a hug to calm them down, or constantly need band-aids putting on them, or coughing and sneezing and licking and touching things with your mouth all day long. Teachers are a little bit different than some of these other essential workers. And so I had a little bit of a moment with that family member and really kind of shared my views on why it's a little different when we're having this conversation about teachers going back to work versus everyone else. Now, first off, that family member was kind of frozen in place. Didn't really want to argue that point, because everybody, it seems, knows what little kids can be like, what any type of child can be like, as far as being germ factories, and the nature of schools are germ factories. So I think that family member got it, and that's why they kind of shut their mouth. And I think that's why a lot of people get this, and that's why they're only brave enough to share their views on why teachers won't go back to work on the internet, where they can't really have to face the reality of that conversation, where they can just hide behind their words. And so I've been thinking about this a lot, and I get it. This is a tough call to make for anyone. This is a difficult conversation we're having right now. It's a difficult reality that we're in right now. That teachers are not just these babies afraid to go back into the workforce, and they need to just buck up and go and do the work. There's a reality right now that teachers are justifiably nervous about these decisions they have to make. They're justifiably apprehensive about going into rooms with 20, 30, 40 students who all potentially could have the coronavirus and are constantly spreading it in these closed spaces. And then they might bring it home to their families, or bring it home to the rest of society, or they might bring it to them at the front of the room or in the room. Or, when these people are talking about, oh, teachers just need to go back to work in person, they're failing to realize that maybe the teaching that you were used to when you were younger, where the teachers stood in the front of the room apart from their students, isn't actually what school really looks like anymore. It's teaching. Most teachers I ever encounter or know or worked around are down there with their students. Good teaching requires you to be on their level, working in groups, having one-on-ones, reading talks. When a student, a younger student has an emotional breakdown, any good teacher knows that they have to go be with that student on their level, and that puts them at risk, right? That's what teachers are worried about. It's not that they're just outright afraid of going back to work. It's that they know that to do this work effectively in person, it's going to require a great deal of risk, and that there's a danger attached to it. And so, I'm not even necessarily offering my personal opinion, for whatever it's worth, on this. I think that it's just important for people to know that when you see this big group of people, teachers, millions of them, and you're seeing them kind of in unison saying, we have some apprehensions about going back to work, there's some justification there. There's some justification, this apprehension. And so what I think we all need to do right now is take a big step back and have a conversation that we need to talk about this. Everything seems to be so loud in this specific moment. Everything is loud politically. Social media is loud. The dinner table with family members and these type of events are loud. And I think we need to quiet it all down and listen to all the stakeholders in this conversation, that we need to listen to health experts. We need to listen to school administrators who are on that level of this decision making. We need to listen to teachers who are on this level of the decision making, that are in the ground level, that are working with students in person. We need to listen to parents as well. We need to listen to students. We need to have a conversation and we need to listen to each other. And that's where all of the decisions we're making right now should be informed from conversation, from discussion. And it's really hard to do that when we're putting teachers in boxes, where we're saying, why are they acting like this? Why are they not moving forward? Why are they any different? Without looking at the nuance of this conversation that we're having. So I know that I've just thrown out a lot of different ideas and we might not even have landed on anything with it, but I hope that your takeaway from this little bit of rambling is that teachers desperately want to be with their students. Teachers don't get into this work for the paycheck. I promise you that. They don't get into it for the fame. They don't get into it for any other reason than that they want to impact students' lives. And they know the impact that has on society as a whole. And so any of this negative language about teachers and about how they're being cowards or how they are not dedicated enough, that's all a bunch of BS. And I think any of my educator friends or anybody who knows teachers and have been deeply impacted by them would also agree with me. And so let's take a step back and let's listen to teachers. Let's listen to all educators. Let's listen to parents. Let's listen to health experts. Maybe even listen to a few politicians. But let's listen to each other and have a conversation about how to do this best.